Hello, welcome or welcome back. I'm Tally, and today we're going to go through my current KU TBR. So if you have Kindle Unlimited and you're anything like me, you literally max out those 20 loans all the time. And I find that some of them I've had out for so long and I've just not got around to it. So in 2025, I am going to check in every 3 months and make sure I'm making my way through these books, because otherwise they're just sitting there. And also, if I'm not reading the KU books, I don't need KU anymore. So this is a great way to check if I'm even reading the books that I'm borrowing. So in the UK, I don't know if it's different anywhere else, but in the UK we can have up to 20 books at a time, and I am always maxing that. And these are books I want to read, so I just need to read them. So I'm going to go through them now, and then in 3 months' time, we're going to have a check and make sure that I've read these. I need to be held accountable. I want to have read, let's say 10. Let's say 10 of these books by the next time I check in. Okay, so the first book I've got is Dark Knight Golden Dawn. This is the first in the Immortal Order series by Alison Carr Wacher. And this is a queer romantasy. It's set in a city where the elite are as powerful as gods, and the season is about to begin, which is like in like Bridgerton, I guess, like when all of the immortals get together and try to pair off. They like to create a bit of a spectacle for all of the lowly commoners to witness, and we follow two of these immortals who are looking to pair off / need to pair off for various reasons. Next is one that I am absolutely embarrassed that I've not read yet. It is That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon, which is the first in the Mead Mishap series by Kimberly Lemming. These are such short books as well. I've read some of the books in this series, but I need to read this one. So this is a romantasy with a great kind of tongue-in-cheek, it's quite comedic. Kimberly Lemming's writing is very aware, it's very self-aware. It's very aware that it's writing to tropes, and that's what makes it so good. And there's always a monster love interest as well. So this follows our main character. Her name is not here, unfortunately, and she just wants to live a nice peaceful life. She wants to get a cat, expand her spice farm. I mean, I love it. It sounds like something I really want to do. She basically wants to do anything that is not a quest and risking her life. Then one day she ends up saving a demon and finds herself being dragged along a quest. But at least she's got a hottie to look at. The next on my list is the second in the Dark Morn universe. This is a book series of standalone books, so you can dip in and out wherever you want. I have read the first one. I intended doing them chronologically, and this is by Ben Alderson. It's called King of Immortal Tithe. So these are queer, spicy retellings of various fairy tales, etc. This one in particular is a Hades and Persephone retelling. The first one, I can't remember what it was called, but it was a Beauty and the Beast vampire retelling, and that one was spectacular. So we follow a human, an elf. They are forced together. It's set in, I believe, in the same world, but just not the same characters. And romance / spice will follow. Next is the fourth in a series that I absolutely adore. So I am kind of ashamed. Again, I've not read this. Honestly, this KU TBR is just really calling me out for all these books that I should have read by now, and I kind of have no excuse for not reading yet. And this is the fourth in the Cambric Creek series by C.M. Nuscosta. This is one of my most favourite series. I'm not even going to lie. I love this series so much, and I haven't read this one yet, and I don't know why. So this is a series set in Cambric Creek, and all of the books are relatively standalone. You might have nods to previous characters or brief mentions of characters from previous books, but you can dip in and out. But I would say the best reading order would be in the published order. This is a town where humans live alongside various monsters, and they're always spicy, and I love it. And this one follows a vampire Harper who runs a tea room in the town, and she has no interest in finding a romantic partner. She's not lonely, she doesn't need that companionship. However, when she starts slightly spiraling into a bit of a depressive state, her tea room decides to step in and put a stop to it. So you may have heard of the first book from this series. It was quite popular on at least Book Talk for a while, which was the Morning Glory Milking Farm. So it's part of that series, and I just adore these books. They are so well written. C.M. Costa is such a fantastic writer. They have such a good way with words, and it's just so easy to read, but it also feels like you've read a lot, even though they're not particularly long books. And I always find that the romances are really worth rooting for as well. So yeah, 10 out of 10 no notes, and I've not even read it. Next is an author that I heard about, I think from the Clear Shit readathon one year, and I found out that the author has a lot of books, and they're all various series. So I was umming about where to start, but I decided to start with Minimum Wage Magic, and this is by Rachel Aaron, and it's the first in a DFZ series. So this is set in a lawless city where there's gods, there's dragons, magic is rife, so buildings can move around by themselves. And we follow Opal, who is a freelance mage, and she works as a art thief, I believe. And that's about all I really know about this book. I really wanted to give it a try, see if the author's writing style was for me, and then if it is, I have this big world that I can dive into, which is always so exciting when you find an author that you vibe with and find out that there's such a big back catalogue that you can jump into. So I'm hoping, I'm anticipating this is going to be a good book. Next is a book that I've actually spoken about on a previous TBR video. It might have been 25 in 2025 video. Yeah, I think so. And that's Outdrawn by Deanna Gray. So this is a queer contemporary romance, and we follow a author of a famous webtoon, and then she gets the opportunity to have her webtoon published into a bind up, and she meets a illustrator who she gets like assigned or paired up with a illustrator who is going to illustrate it for her, and they end up having a few sparks and romance, and it just sounds really good. It looks the cover looks so cutesy as well. It just makes me feel like it's going to be full of like joy, which is what I want. Okay, so here we're getting into a couple of books that I'm midway through the series in again. So I have Rule of the Aurora King, which is the second in the Artifacts of the Uranus series by Nisha J. Tooley. I read the first one last year on my podcast. We're on hiatus at the moment, but we have hundreds of episodes. Well, I don't know. We've got about 100 episodes you can go back and listen to. But we did this as one of our buddy reads. I think it might have been our first buddy read actually, and it was really, really enjoyable. And I'm very much looking forward to picking up the next in the series. It's on the longer side, which is probably why it's kind of sat there in my library waiting for me to pick it up. So this follows Law, who has grown up in a prison in this magical realm where there's fae, etc. And she one day gets pulled out of the prison, and she is taken to another realm and put forward for a competition-esque, well, it is a competition, they're trials to find out the last woman standing will be the new queen of Aurora, I believe that realm is called. And the And the kings from every realm always have someone from another realm come in to try and keep a bit of well, try and stop any kind of hostility between the realms. It's all very convoluted. So it was kind of like The Selection meets Hunger Games, and I loved it. And our main character is really enjoyable because she is not meek. She's not a virgin. She knows what she wants. She has revenge on her mind, and I really appreciate that. And she's quite quick-witted, but I find that sometimes I don't get along with characters that are quite quick-witted and sarcastic. Sometimes I feel like writers take them too far for my enjoyment. And I feel like this author got it just right, that I really enjoyed the main character. So I would very much like to see what happens on the rest of her journey. They're whole big books. I think there's going to be about 4 or 5 of them as well. I don't know if they're finished coming out. So, I mean, it would be an accomplishment to just get them done. Especially because the longer I leave it, the more I'm going to be like, well, I have to reread the first one, and then I just won't get around to it. Next is one I kind of need to prioritise because we're potentially getting to that point of I'm going to need to reread, and this is book 6, and I can't be doing that to myself because they're not short books. And this is The Fated Frame, which is the 6th of the Zodiac Academy series by Carolyn Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. So end of book 5 really broke my heart, and I needed to take a break. I was angry and I needed to take a break, and this break has been a bit longer than I'd intended. Before that I was going through them quite quickly, and I'm terrible at starting series and then putting them down and coming back like a few years later, and I'm trying to get better at maintaining the series flow and actually completing a series so I can fully enjoy it and actually like read the whole arc. So Zodiac Academy, it is set in a Fey realm, and they have magic controlled by different elements. And so we meet Tori and Darcy, who are twins growing up in a bit of a poor situation in the human mortal realm. And one day a Fey turns up and says, hey, you are princesses, by the way, and you're coming to this school. And he just takes them to Zodiac Academy. And they find out that they are effectively changelings. Their parents had them taken to the mortal realm because they knew that they were going to be murdered, and they wanted to keep their daughters safe. And in this world, as well as magic, which is like elements, they also have is it a class or something along those lines? I can't remember the exact wording, but it's a additional level to their magic, which means whichever they are, they have extra powers. It can be like a werewolf, a dragon shifter, a siren, a unicorn, and yeah, so it's very interwoven. There's obviously a big story arc of like a big bad. At this point in the story, they've had lots of reveals and lots of romance and heartache, and at the end something happened that made me very sad, and I was like very angry about it, so I put it down, but I need to come back to it. If you know, you know. Next on my list is the first in a new series, so really I should be finishing off some of these series before I start new ones, but Fated Born, it's the Fated Born series by Kristen L. Hamblin, and this is a YA series. It's set in a fantasy world with like alternate worlds and a slow burn romance. So we follow, I think it's a Fey world where love is forbidden, and we follow a guy, Adonis I think he's called, who one day his romantic feelings come in early or something, and he can't speak of it because it's forbidden, and he starts to have feelings for his best friend. That's pretty much all I know. It sounded interesting. I think I might have seen someone somewhere mention they liked it, or like a quote of it, and I was like, yeah, I gotta read that. So I should probably see what it's all about and read it. I think it's a trilogy. Then we have The Ever King, which is the first in the Eversea series by L.J. Andrews. This is a chunky boy. I have actually started it. I got about 4 or 5% in, and then I got distracted by something else. So it's kind of just sitting there waiting for me to come back to it. This is a fae fantasy, and we follow the scarred king of the Ever Kingdom, who has a absolute vendetta against a man who killed his father and trapped him, and then they kidnap the princess of that realm, something along those lines. There's ships, there's romancy. Look, I don't look into these a lot. I'm just like, yeah, that sounds cool, let's read it. Okay, I think we're about halfway through now. Yay. So next is the first in the Ironside Academy series. This is called Playa, and it's by Jane Washington. These again are big chunky boys. This is a romantasy, and but it's not as fae heavy as a lot of the romances on this list tend to be. So this follows Isabel Carter, who is given a place in the Ironside Academy. The Ironside Academy is a very like prestigious academy that people want to get to. It's the biggest reality TV show in the world, and it's also basically a luxurious prison. So this is a place that's ruled by betas and omegas, and I believe it's a dance academy, and I think there's some sort of like death trials as well. I'm not 100% sure. It's a big series, but I saw some reviews where people were talking about how great the romance is, and particularly like the spice scenes. So I was like, okay then, let's do it. House of Bane and Blood, the first in the Vows of Vengeance series by Alexis L. Menard. Look, Casti from Covers with Casti won't stop talking about this. Still need to know. I watched her read it in a reading vlog. It sounded amazing. It sounded like I need to read. I think it's a duology, so that would be helpful for me not starting a big series. And I just need to do it basically. So this is set in a city that's like split by opposing families, and it's all about bloodlines and money and secrets control everything. And the heiress of one family meets the leader of a rival family, and he is rather attractive. That's it. Done. Okay. A Deal with the Elf King is the first in the Married to Magic series. So this is a series of standalone books by Elise Cover, and each of them follow some sort of arranged marriage, I believe, but like with a different set of characters, a different kind of creature. So there's like a vampire one, this one's an elf one, etc. This one is about a human girl who gets betrothed to a elf king. I mean, that was all I needed to know as well for this one. I'm not gonna lie, I just have some buzzwords and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll give that a try. But the getting round to giving it a try is the struggle I have. But if I enjoy this, obviously I've got the rest of the standalones to try. And the best thing about this is if any of them don't work for me, I can just skip them and try another one, because they're all standalones, which is also, you know, that helps it out a lot. I then have A Ruin of Roses by K.F. Breen on my list. So this is the first in a deliciously dark fairy tale series. If you hadn't noticed by now, I do have quite a soft spot for fairy tale retellings, especially when they have a bit of a spicy spin on them. I particularly like anything that's Beauty and the Beast, and I think possibly I have potential of liking anything that's Peter Pan. I've not read anything yet, but I do think that could be a potential retelling I like. This one is a Beauty and the Beast one. So we follow, I mean, look, it's a Beauty and a Beast retelling. That's all we need to know. I don't need to go through the storyline. We all know the storyline of Beauty and the Beast. It's the first in a trilogy, and it includes fated mates. What Feeds the Lake is a horror romance book by J.C. Hemstreet, and this I've been wanting to pick up for a while. It follows a group of people who go to this artist retreat that is run by an art psychologist, Dr. Leyden Kane, and every year he runs this retreat and people are desperate. They're like clamoring to get there. Anyone that has done the retreat has gone on to have very illustrious careers after. And we follow Callan as he is chosen to go this year. And not long after he arrives, I believe they're snowed in. Some creepy occurrences start happening, potentially some hauntings. It sounds spooky and I like it. I like the sound of it. The cover looks cute. Let's go. This is the sequel and the final one. It's a duology. It's the second volume in this graphic novel series. I read the first one recently. I loved it and I really need to pick up the second one. It's called The Nice House on the Lake and it is by James Tynion IV. The first one was actually on my best horror books of 2024 list. It was an honorary mention. So we follow a group of friends who go to this very nice house on the lake. They're invited by their friend Walt. They all know him through various things. Some of them have known him since childhood, some of them are recent friends, and they all go to this place. He invites them over, I believe it's New Year's period, and then when they arrive, Walt isn't there, but they all get to know each other or become reacquainted if they used to be friends. And they all come to realise that they don't really know Walt very well. Even the people that have known him since childhood, he's always been quite estranged, but he's also been very involved in all of their lives. And then Walt turns up and he says, hey, by the way, the world's going to come to an end. I like you guys, so I picked you all to survive. You can't leave. Okay, goodbye. And there's a lot of horror panels that just looks so good. Some like weird kind of body horror-esque panels, and we follow the group as they try to understand what's happening. They try to communicate with the outside world and they can't, and they come to the realization that Walt potentially could be telling the truth. And yeah, it was really good, very beautifully illustrated, and I need to pick up the second one, and then that's it. There's no more out, unfortunately, which happens a lot with graphic novels, unfortunately. Okay, so this is not going to be the first one that I say this on, but I got FOMO. I want to read, look, I don't often read contemporary romance. It has to really, really tickle something for me to want to pick it up. It's not really my jam. Unless it's like cozy, cutesy contemporary romance. But I have found that I've been getting a little bit more into it recently. And I want to read Flawless. Everyone's talking about this series, the Chestnut Springs series by Elsie Silver. It's like cowboy romance, I believe. And I don't know. I've seen people squealing and kicking their legs when they're reading it. And I want to be that person. So I need to read Flawless. And then I love it and I read the rest of the series, and then I read her other series, question mark. But yeah, if you've read this, let me know in the comments how much I'm gonna love it, please. Just hype me up for it. Lights Out by Nevessa Allen is the first in the Into the Darkness series. I don't know, I keep seeing quotes of it all over TikTok, and I wanna read it. I wanna see the rest of the book. I just want more of the quotes. So this is a dark romance slash erotica. I don't know, but I want to read it. I want to see what the quotes are. There was like something about a masked person. Not enough people talking about her hot ghost faces. Enough people talking about it. She's a Keeper is the first in the Brickle Island Sea series. This is a queer romance by Ali K. Mulford, who I simply adore under her fantasy pen name, A.K. Mulford. And I recently read her Pumpkin Spice and Poltergeist, which is the first in a Hollow something series, and I really enjoyed her writing outside the fantasy sphere, although that is slightly fancy because obviously it's got witches and stuff. But this series is, I've only heard great things, and this is set at a zoo called Prickle Island, and it follows, there's like a family of siblings that are set to inherit or have inherited this zoo, and it follows each of them as they kind of meet the love of their life whilst working at the zoo. And I think we get like some stuff about the animals and things, but Ali came off of brings in her experiences with like ADHD and things like that throughout her characters, and I just can't wait to get into it. I cannot wait. And Friends, we made it to the end, and this is one that I'm actually going to pick up very soon. This is going to be the first one on this list that I pick up, and I cannot wait. There's another one I got serious FOMO about, and I need to read it. So this is Quicksilver by Callie Hart. It's the first in the Fae and Alchemy series. There's like a shadow daddy. That's all I need to know. That's all I need to know that I need this in my life, basically. It's been picked up for traditional publishing as well now, I believe. So, you know, I don't want to be like FOMOing even when it's traditionally published. Come on, Natalie. So yeah, that is it's 100%. It's on my January TBR. It's getting done. So they are the 20 books on my Kindle TBR currently, or my KU TBR currently. We're not even going to discuss how many books I have on my Kindle. Please hype me up for any of these that you've read in the comments. Tell me which ones I should prioritize, and then in 3 months, yeah, we'll do it at the end of March. We'll take a look at this, and I want to have read at least 10 of these. Okay, we can do it. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm putting it out there. I'm manifesting it. So yeah, that's my KUTBR. Please let me know in the comments if yours is also out of control. I really appreciate that. Bit of support. Happy New Year to everyone, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye, friends.